Ken Kelly was a fantasy artist who focused most of his career on the genre of sword and sorcery and heroic fantasy. He did unforgettable artwork for the Conan the Barbarian and Tarzan books, as well as covers for prominent rock and heavy metal bands. Born in 1946 in New London, Connecticut, Ken Kelly practically came into our world with a pencil in his hand. He started drawing from a very early age. He started taking art lessons in 4th grade and continued through grade school and high school. Ken was introduced to art by his teacher, Mrs. Valerius. This was the beginning of a relationship that would last for the next 9 years. Mrs. Valerius gave Ken the direction he needed. She showed him how to develop and put to use his natural talent. She taught him the principles of art. After finishing high school, set his brushes aside to join the Marines at the age of 18 as he had always dreamed. For the next 4 years, he found himself touring around the world, serving both at Guantanamo Bay and Vietnam. During his service to his country, he even got to use his art skills. While he was in Cuba, he did all the illustrations for the US magazine The Gitmo Gazette. He completed his 4-year term in 1968 and returned home to New York. During the next year, Ken's life would veer further into the realms of fantasy art. He decided to go to the studio of Frank Frazetta and show him some of his own drawings. Frazetta liked what he saw and encouraged him to pursue a career in commercial art. At the same time, he also invited Ken to study under him. Ken accepted Frank's offer. Under the guidance of Frazetta, Ken was able to fine-tune his skill even further. Frazetta stressed how important it was to put feeling into creating a painting and to let the action on the canvas come from the imagination. Later that same year, Ken received his first professional assignment. Before he turned the painting in, he took it to Frazetta to get his approval. Frank did not think that the woman in the painting had a terrifying enough expression on her face, so he painted over her old face with a new one of his own, which he felt worked better. Now it was ready to be turned in. That painting was done for Warren's Vampirella magazine and is titled The Lurking Terror. Then, in 1969, he entered the book cover field and has since worked for just about every major publishing house. Ken has done work for some of the best-selling authors in the field, including an outstanding series for Robert E. Howard and the complete series of Robert Adams' famous Horse Clan novels. In the 70s, he started doing a lot of album covers, including 2 paintings for Kiss for the albums Destroyer and Love Guns. In case of Destroyer, Kelly's original version of the album cover was rejected by the record company because they felt the scene was too violent, looking with the rubble and flames. The front cover shows the group striding on top of a pile of rubble and a desolate background spot with destroyed buildings, some of which are engulfed in flames. The back cover shows a similar scene but with more buildings on fire. Another of the emblematic albums in which he participated as an illustrator of the cover is the mythical Rising by Rainbow, the band of Ritchie Blackmore and Ronnie James Dio. But without a doubt, the group that has benefited most from the incredible talent of the Connecticut artist is the heavy metal band Manowar. This group has 6 albums with Kelly's art on its cover. The first was Fighting the War, which would mark a long relationship between the artist and the band. These covers are notably influenced by Ken Kelly's own art for Conan the Barbarian, and you can think of Manowar without thinking of these covers. They are closely related to the image of heavy metal. The world of video games were also lucky to have Kelly's creativity, since he made the cover of Witch Haven, a dark fantasy first-person shooter developed by Capstone Software in 1995. Its sword and sorcery-themed story tasks the Knight Roundabout with a quest to seek out and destroy a lair of witches in their titular fortress, fighting hordes of hostile monsters along the way. Obviously, the game fits perfectly with his style. He even did the packaging art for the Micronauts toys. The toy line consists of 3.75-inch tall action figures, which were known for their high number articulations point relative to other toys of similar size and scale. The toy line also includes vehicles, robots, play sets, and accessories. In his last years, he developed the artwork for Cohit and Coimbra's album, Good Apollo, and Burning Star 4 Volume 2, No War for Tomorrow. And painting of his was used as the cover art for Alabama Thunder Pussy's 2007 release, Open Fire. With the good relationship he had with Kiss, the band invited him to the Kiss by Monster mini golf course in Las Vegas, Nevada, doing autographs, singing prints for the classic Kiss albums he drew cover artwork for. On June 3, 2022, Ken Kelly died at the age of 76. People whose careers were touched by his art expressed their condolences. Paul Stanley, the Kiss frontman, said, "A moment to remember the great Ken Kelly. His fantasy art captured the larger-than-life image of Kiss perfectly. Rest in peace." Richie Blackmore expressed, "He was a very nice man, very easy to work with. I gave him a simple idea, which he turned into a magical picture. He shall be greatly missed." And of course, the band he worked with the most, Manowar, uploaded the following statement on their Instagram account. "We are saddened to hear of the passing of our brother, Ken Kelly. No word can express what a terrible loss this is, not only for Manowar and the metal community, but for the world. He was a great artist and friend. Ken will forever be remembered through his art and through his deeds. Our deepest condolences go out to his family. Without a doubt, he and his art will be remembered. We just hope that in the place where he is now will be as beautiful and imaginative as the world that he created in his canvases."